What is up, Terp basketball fans? Welcome into another Shell Shock experience. I'm Matt Moderno, being joined here today by Damonte Dodd. Damonte, how's it going?
It's going well, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. I appreciate you coming back. We did a podcast together a couple months ago, and it was super well received. And just glad to chat and catch up on how you're doing this season.
Yeah. Last time was good. Excited for this one.
All right, everybody. We're brought to you by Vision Media Solutions, the top media management company in the DMV. See them for web design, videography, and more. It's Vision Media Solutions, and the link to their website is in the bio or description of this episode, so go check that out. Damonte, playing in Japan this year, man. How's that going so far?
So far, it's going well. As a team, we're kind of in a slump a little bit, so we're trying to, figure some things out. But other than that, it's going well. I'm having a good season, but like I said, we're in a little slump, losing streak, so we're just trying to just like I said, figure some things out and make some adjustments, but still have a lot of games left in the season. So we have plenty of time to do that. But like I said, we need to rather do that now than later.
Yeah, for sure. How many games in are you so far?
How many games are we in so far?
Yeah.
I want to say maybe 15, 18 games in.
Okay. And how many do you guys play?
I think it's a 60-game season.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that's a pretty long chunk of time there.
Yeah.
You've played in Japan before, right?
Yeah. So this is my second year with this team.
Okay, cool. Oh, okay. So running it back with the same team, that means it's probably a pretty good experience.
Pretty good experience. Like I said, I'm used to the players, used to the coach. So that's one of the main reasons I came back. We added some. I'm not with the same Americans I was with last year. We added two new Americans. Well, they're not American. One's Nigerian, one's from New Zealand. But I mean, they're basically American.
I guess. Is there a limit in the Japanese league about how many imports can play at once?
Yeah. So you only have two on the court at the same time.
Okay.
But some teams have like players where they have like guys that are like naturalized and they have Japanese passports, so they're considered Japanese.
Yeah, there you go.
So they can play, but not on the team.
All kinds of tricks of the trade with international basketball. It's always interesting.
Yeah. You have some guys, and it's funny because you'll come across some guys that'll be like considered Japanese, and you're like, oh, how much Japanese do you know?
Not much. Yeah.
Not much.
Yeah, you've probably spent more time over there than they have at this point.
Yeah, or know more Japanese than they know.
Yeah, exactly. All the highlights I see, man, it looks like you're able to show off a little bit more of your game than we got to see in college. And I guess, is that, stuff that you always had there that just kind of wasn't part of your role here at Maryland, or is that things you've developed, over time overseas just to kind of, make things work the way the game's played differently over there? Or just, I don't know, like I've seen some you putting the ball on the floor and some really good dribble packages and stuff, and some like step backs and things like that too. And we didn't get to see a ton of that in a Terps uniform.
Right. Yeah. I remember we touched on this topic a little bit last time. I think at Maryland, when I would go into the gym on my personal time, I think I worked on those things.
Sure.
But once again, once you go to a high D1 like Maryland, they don't need you to do that, especially like when you're surrounded by Melo Trimble, Jake Layman, Rob Carter, Rasheed Suleiman, guys like that. They don't they don't need you to do those type of things. They just need me to do my role. And that's why I think so far I've had a successful overseas career, just for the simple fact that any team I go to, I can adjust. If you need me to score, I can score. Yep. You need me to just rebound and pick and roll, I've done it for 4 years at Maryland, so I know how to do these things. So, but I've always had these things. I always worked on them because, like you said, you just never know where you're going to need them. And with this team, they need me to do these things. So, luckily, I have them.
And that's great for keeping your career going as long as possible, too. When you have that versatility, it makes you so much more marketable to whatever team's looking for a big man. Like you can kind of fit in whatever mold there. So that's really smart.
Exactly.
For folks that, are thinking back to your Maryland career here, I've told you this last time, you were one of my favorite bigs, in a Maryland uniform in the last decade plus, because just protecting the rim and it was always kind of cool to see. And we haven't always had maybe like the best shot blockers here in College Park. So it's kind of, I look back on that fondly, and the role that you played with this team. You're top 10 in blocks in program history, which is awesome. And I told you this quote the last time, but I thought it was cool and worth repeating for anyone who didn't catch that episode. But Tom Crean called you the best screen and roll player in the Big Ten at that time, which I think is just, I mean, it's like a cool thing because there were a lot of good bigs in the Big Ten. So I think that's a pretty good compliment.
Yeah, Tom Izzo also said that to me at Big Ten Media Day. Same thing.
Hey, I love that. Yeah, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Any former teammates that you've played with or against overseas?
I've played with or against.
Just curious if you've run into any other Terps out there or seen them in any other countries that you've been playing in.
Well, so currently me and Jake is both in Japan.
Okay, cool.
So
oh, that's right. You told me that last time, I think, too.
Yes, me and him both in the B League, but we haven't played against each other. I'm trying to think if I came across it. I don't think I've came across any other Terps. Not that I could think of off the top of my head.
I'm sure some other like Big Ten guys or guys you played against in college. It's like, hey, I think that guy looks familiar. I'm sure.
Now that for sure.
Definitely
come across some other Big Ten. Well, just people from that played college in general, ACC. That's people I know. I'm just like, oh, okay, he played at Syracuse, he played at Duke, so definitely came across some people.
Is that cool when you run into other guys that you at least know from back in the day at all, or like you guys get dinner and stuff after if they're in town, or I don't know. I guess how friendly are guys with the dudes?
It's always funny because in Japan you'll play 2 games back to back.
Okay.
So the first game you're always looking and you can't because we're all older now.
Sure.
When we were at Maryland or whoever your prospective school was, you looked like a little younger, had a little baby face. So we're always trying to figure each other out.
I know that guy from somewhere, but where?
I know him from somewhere, but I can't. He has a full beard now, or maybe he's bald. I don't know. Whatever the situation may be. So it's like, but then that second game afterwards, you're like, oh, you played okay. And then sometimes like depends if the guys stay in town or not. Sometimes I mean I've definitely got dinner with went out, or we'll go out and to a shiska. Here they call it shisa, but hookah lounge.
Okay,
that's really popular for Americans. They'll go to like the hookah lounges and sit and talk,
just hang out, and decompress.
Yeah, basically.
Okay. That's cool. Just want to talk a little bit about the current Maryland team, and we mentioned this a little bit before we recorded here, but you have gotten to see this year's team a little bit. I'm sure with the time change, it's not as easy to catch them live or anything like that. But I guess what's your initial thoughts so far?
I think they're a sleeper. I think they're going to be really good. Honestly,
I love hearing that.
I think they're going to be really good, and I'm very hard on the Maryland teams.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not just saying that. You can ask anyone. They ask me about Maryland. I'll tell you, I don't think they're going to be good this year. And I said this previously, but no, I think they're going to be good this year. I think they have a high chance of winning the Big Ten. I think they have a high chance of winning it. I mean, of course, I have not seen all the other Big Ten,
sure,
and but I think they have a high chance, and especially with Derik Queen. I mean,
so good.
I think, and it's funny because I didn't realize who he was, but this past summer, so Andrew Fitzgerald, he plays in the B League out here, and he won MVP last year, and so we work out together, and we work out in Maryland. So we was working out this past summer, and Derik Queen was there. I didn't put 2 and 2 together until I seen him at Maryland. I'm just like, oh shoot, we was just working out with this kid, and we was playing 1-on-1, and they were like, yeah, he's like he's a McDonald's All-American. They said he's like young.
Yep.
And he was killing us in 1-on-1s. He was legit killing us, and I'm a good defender.
Yep.
I was kind of getting mad. I was like, damn, can't stop this young kid. Like, and that just shows you the talent nowadays. I'm like, these kids are just so advanced skill-wise. And I mean, he was just hitting us with a plethora of moves. I'm just like, man, like he has everything. So now I'm watching at Maryland. I put 2 and 2 together. I'm like, oh, that's the same freaking kid. I'm like, oh, shoot. So, I mean, I don't want to speak too soon, but I mean, I think by the end of the year, he'll probably be a top 10 pick.
It's trending that way for sure. I mean, which is probably making Kevin Willard a little nervous.
Yeah, because I don't really see any other bigs that I've been watching. And once again, I have not seen all teams play, but
sure.
I mean, just what he showed you everything. He can take it off the dribble from the top of the 3-point line. He can shoot the 3. He can shoot the mid range, the step back off one leg. I mean, Passing, he's making Julian
Passing's
Reese look
really
good.
Yep.
I mean, him and Julian Reese got an alley-oop connection. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, man, like, yeah, they better enjoy him while they got him.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know. For Maryland fans, it's like a bittersweet thing of like, wow, he's so good, but he's also so good, and that's usually a short-lived kind of thing. But
kind of reminds me of like a Diamond Stone, but he's like a 2.0 Diamond Stone. Like Diamond had that same kind of, he had that same kind of skill, but I feel like this kid has maybe more of a jump shot on the outside. And Diamond didn't really get to show that much at Maryland because he really did most of his work inside. But I think this kid has more of a jump shot. But like I said, they better enjoy him while they can because I don't think he's going to be there long.
When you got touched like he has, I think it's only a matter of time before he starts hitting threes and things like that. Like if I were our team drafting someone like that, I wouldn't be worried that he's not going to be able to shoot like from three long term because it just when your hands are that good and stuff.
Well, yeah. Well, you can look at his jump shot and see that when he shoots the mid range or he shoots that off one leg, it's a fluent release. It's very fluent. It's very pretty. So it's like he's easily. I think he just doesn't shoot it. In college right now as much. I don't know if he has or not. I mean, you probably seen more games, but
not a ton.
I just think that he's can get whatever shot he want inside. There's no need for him to take it. So I also think like when he gets to the NBA, he'll be a 4. I think he's like 6'9", 6'10". So he'll be a 4. I think he'll be like a Boris Diaw, that is you split the spread. Yeah, I think he'll be like a Boris, but young Boris when he was in shape.
Yeah,
a young Boris when Boris was moving, just fast, like just within the offense that Derik Queen is the type of person you can put in the offense, and he's going to increase. He's going to automatically make your offense better because not only can he score, but he can pass it, he can split, he can do all those different things. So he reminds me of a young Boris Diaw. So yeah, like I said. Enjoy him while you can.
I like that, man. Yeah, people cutting off of him on a spaced out NBA court and letting him just kind of play make out of the high post. That's gonna be tough for teams to guard, I think.
That's scary.
For a guy like that, the other thing that surprised me is just how well he's moving his feet so far. Like they were switching 1 through 5 in that Marquette game, and he was staying in front of like Cam Jones, who might be one of the best 5 players in the country so far. Like I was impressed.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the kids nowadays. It's night and day because I mean I just look at all the kids. I'm just like, man, it's crazy. Like just to see how much money they're getting.
That too.
Crazy. I'd never leave college.
I'm with you, man. 5 years minimum would have been the move, I think.
I tried to stay 6. It's funny because me and I was talking with Jared and the other day, and I was like, if we were in college when we did that running man.
God. Yep. We're cashing in all over the place. Yeah.
Oh, and cashing in crazy.
Yeah, I think about that a lot too. And that's the other thing. Like someone like Queen seems mature enough to be handling that portion of it too, which I think is awesome. You didn't play next to like a ton of like traditional other bigs, I would say, like some Robert Carter, guys like that moved around on the perimeter a little bit more and things like that. But for Reese and Queen, I think typically they'd want to occupy similar parts of the court, but they've seemed to like figuring that chemistry out already. How hard is that, I guess, to just try to like, I don't know, how many games do you need to really kind of figure out another guy and how to play off of him and stuff like that?
Well, it's not hard for them because for one, they're both from Baltimore, and two, I think they, if I'm not mistaken, I think that they both played in what's the
they played at St. Francis for 1 year together.
Yeah, but they also played in the program this past year in Baltimore. I can't, man. The Brunson League.
Brunson League, yeah, exactly.
I think they both played in the Brunson. I think it was both on the same team. So, like, it's not. I'm sure it wasn't hard. And then you got to think, you're throughout the whole summer, going into preseason, leading up to practice, you're playing every day. Like you play pickup literally every day. So. Not hard at all.
That's good.
The figure out what guys like to do. I remember like just from my personal experience, like when that whole freshman class came in, like if you remember, like my freshman year going to my sophomore year, all those guys left. Charles Mitchell, Seth Allen, Nick Faust, whole new team. Like I said, Jared Mello came in, Michael Chakowski, and so it was easy for me because like I'm saying, you spend so much time with these guys. That's why, when we talk about like college, like especially if you talk to a lot of the older guys that's now that's out of college, like it's fun to talk about because it's like, man, you look back, like you went through all that stuff together. Everything. So it's like every day, like you're grinding. So it's not hard to figure guys out. Like I knew, like when Melo first came in, I knew exactly what he liked to do. Like it took me maybe 2 weeks tops. Just like, okay, I know exactly what you want. I know he wants transition ball screens. And then it maybe took me 2 months in to say this kid probably won't be here longer than
remember you say that. Yeah, that's
his freshman year. I was like, so yeah, we gotta use him as much as we can too.
Yeah, Maryland fans selfishly got a little lucky with that one. They stuck around longer than I think anybody thought halfway through that freshman year, and maybe we get lucky with Queen again. Although I kind of doubt it.
Yeah, like I said, it's all going to for me. I think it's all going to depend on his NIL. Like it's possible that after this year for sure, maybe even midway through the season, someone's going to offer him something crazy NIL.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So maybe he'll stay, but NIL also isn't compared to NBA money.
That's also a good point. Yeah, if you could be a lottery pick, that's next level at that point.
Yeah.
Any advice you have for a young guy like that, as someone who's been through the rigors of college basketball here? Anything you'd relay to him?
Enjoy the process. Enjoy the process. Stay humble, and like I said, just stay level-headed because there's going to be people coming out of the woodworks, family, friends, that's going to tell you should do this, you should do that, you should do this, and do what you're doing, have fun, enjoy the process, and ultimately, like I said, I don't know his faith or whatever, but God will lead you to the right decision what you need to do. But I've seen a lot of guys that had this person in the ear, that person in the ear, telling them what they should do, and people that's never even went to college.
Right? They didn't live any of that or have real experience.
You have no education. You have anything, and you're telling this kid what he should do. No, a lot of times, and like I said, it's funny, but a lot of people are just after the fame and the accolades and the money. But you got to be able to decipher who's really good for you and who's just, I just want to, I know Derik Queen. I'm going to be at his draft table. No. You want to have the people that's going to, hey, you should stay in school, do another year. Because education is more important. Whoever it may be. I'm not saying that's the case, but whoever, you want people like that in your corner. You don't want the people that are just gonna be there, just to ride the coattails. So, like I said, just stay humble, enjoy the process. That's the most I think a lot of people forget. Like, and that's not even just it's with any job, even with your job. Like, if once you stop having fun with it, you're not gonna do it anymore.
Absolutely.
So you just enjoy it every day. Try to get 1% better at it every day. And it seems like he's doing that. So
even with NIL and, these guys are now paid and things like that, but it's still not the same as being like a full everyday professional. So it's the college experience, make the most out of it. And you're going to get to the full, pro grind at some point here. So I'm with you, enjoy that.
That's the only thing about the NIL that I'm seeing. Like, I'm seeing kids that's on the bench with big old chains around their necks. I'm just like, good Lord. Like, I mean, I understand you getting money, and I'm glad you guys get it because, shoot, as hard as they work you,
long overdue.
You should definitely get some money, even though they can't work them as hard as they used to work us because the rules have changed. But I mean, I'm sure they still get after it. But yeah, I mean, it's just sometimes I'm like, I think there needs to be some rules or some things like, chains and stuff on the bench. Like, come on, man. Let's stick to being a professional athlete.
Yep, I like that.
Yeah.
We're old school guys. We're old guys though, so I think it's hard to tell the new guys anything.
I about to say, I guess at this point I'm an old guy. So that's what it is.
Yeah, I think the refreshing thing, like we had Deshaun Harris-Smith on here, and he talked about one that Derik Queen is like the life of the party with the team, and they're all super tight and well connected, and he just has fun, and that was like really refreshing to hear that they all seem to really like him too. And I mean, you know how it is sometimes when a guy comes in that's the 5-star McDonald's All-American, that can rock the boat sometimes, and it sounds like that's very much not the case with him, which is awesome.
Yeah. And that's what it is, and as you can see, it shows on the court.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, we're recording this right after they literally just beat the unholy crap out of Ohio State. I think they were up 50-17 at one point, and then kind of like, pumped on the brakes a little bit. So they're looking good.
And that's Big 10. That's a Big 10 team. So
yeah, it's an Ohio State team that has a win over Texas and a couple other decent teams too. So that's a good result for them, and they're starting to click. So good time.
Yeah.
Was there any former Terps around when you were there at some point that came around in the summers, or any other former big men that gave you tips or advice or anything like that kind of stood out to you?
I would
maybe doesn't have to be big men either, I guess.
I would say maybe not former big. Well, I will say this: John Graham's dad, Ernie Graham.
Ernie Graham,
always gave me tips.
Okay.
He's like a second father to me, and
that's awesome.
He's always he'll call me or whatever, text me, or he'll he's a little older, so he'll send his message through John, and John he just always was like telling me things, little tips about ducking in or how to play post defense, and he helped me a lot through my career. Sometimes he would even take me and John and pick us up and take us to the court. And him and I don't know if it was his brother or I think it was his brother will be with him sometimes, and they just show us tips because they had so much knowledge.
Sure.
So I learned a lot from Ernie Graham. I also learned a great amount from Juan Dixon and a former player. Now I don't know, he was a coach at Coppin with Juan, but John Auslander. Them two don't get the credit that they deserved for that 2016 run that we had.
Okay.
I mean, they were huge on implementing just things that we didn't know, especially like I'm saying, like Juan. And don't get me wrong, Coach Turgeon was the mastermind. Sure. Don't get me wrong, but having a mastermind like Coach Turgeon, and then you add Juan and John Auslander, I mean. We were really working with some great minds that year, and Juan really helped me on learning spacing, because a lot of times in basketball we call the short corner the dunker. So a lot of times if I wasn't setting the ball screen for Melo or for Rashid, it would be Rob or Mike Tchaikovsky or Diamond, whoever. So they would come off the ball screen. And if we were in that dunker, if our defender would step up, it would be a lob or a jump off or a dunk. And we didn't have that until they got there, just learning that type of spacing. And it's funny because if you watch, that's how DeAndre Jordan got a lot of his points with Chris Paul, just being in that little area and just being ready for the lob. So it's just like learning those things, and then their workouts, individuals that they did with us in the mornings and different things like that. It was really it's different now because it's like when we were doing individuals like with Coach Warren and Coach Bino and guys like that. Like, don't get me wrong, it was skill work, but it was more old school skill work.
Yeah, I got you.
But when we got with John Auslander, it was skill work that you see that the NBA guys is doing. And it was tough because I was like, I don't think I'm gonna ever do this type of stuff. But
it's good to work on.
It was good to work on, so they helped us out a lot, for sure.
You need that, right? You need fresh voices and things like that on any staff, and bringing in those guys that have different levels of experience too. Juan could take some things he learned in the NBA. John could take some things that he learned, as a younger member of that staff too.
Especially, like you said, especially Juan, especially the player that he was. Yeah, I mean, we talking arguably. Some people arguably put him top 10 greatest college basketball players ever.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to be on the Terp Mount Rushmore at the very least.
He's the Terp Rushmore, Mount Rushmore for sure.
Yeah, that's a great point too. And he's just one of those guys, I think, that everyone on that team knew what Juan Dixon did and was about. So it's like when he talks, I'm sure everyone in the room was listening to that.
Certain amount of respect, yeah. Just bring that respect. You definitely listen.
So one of the reasons we wanted to do this podcast in the first place, and if folks have checked out the first 2 episodes, they've heard this already, and if they haven't, they should go back and do that. But is to try to build a little bit more of that connective thread with former players, and I think shell shock can be a way to help sort of like it's corny, and I hate bringing up anything related to Duke in a positive way on a Maryland podcast, but you hear about the brotherhood and all that kind of stuff. But like old guys are in there. Former players, every time they're in town, they're teaching the new guy stuff. They're dumping passing on little nuggets. And I feel like I haven't heard about that happening as much with Maryland as a program. And maybe it's just because like you've got Gary guys, Turgeon guys, and now Willard guys. Like there's not that same connective thread, the way there was with just everybody was a K guy at some point up until recently. So I think this alumni team is a way to kind of bring some former players that aren't as connected back into the fold a little bit here too.
Yeah. I would like to see it happen. But it's just I think it's gonna come down to organization. It's gonna come down to guys wanting to actually do it.
Sure.
And other than that, because I've been part of the TBT. And one of my best years, a part of the TBT, was when I was with that Wichita State team. I mean, I honestly felt that I was a part of that family. Yeah. I felt, the way, just the events they were doing while we were there, they were having us there with fans for cornhole. And you would have thought that they were still current players.
Yep.
I mean,
that's cool.
the way that the fans, they showed up for those guys and for any events that they had, and their arena was packed. They host every year, so their arena was, it's packed, and I felt like it feels like we're in college playing, and then of course I was even accepted in even more once they found out that I was a prodigy of Coach Turgeon because he coached at Wichita.
Exactly. Yeah.
So they all of them were under Coach Turgeon at 1.2. So I fit in just perfectly. So I would love to, if we can get, we did shell shock the one year, but I feel like we had more other players than we had Maryland players.
I remember you guys had a lot of guys got injured, kind of pulled out last minute, and then went with kind of like a short, rotation of teams. Yeah. And this year's a little bit more time to plan for it, do it right, hopefully. So. As someone who is not only a TBT alum, but a shell shock alum, is that something, given if you're healthy and all those kinds of things and it works out, but is that something that would interest you again?
Yeah, I told Coach Neem, I told him I'm definitely in.
Love that.
All in. So you guys hear it first. I'm all in. So if we can pull it together, which Neem is definitely a person that, pulls strings and can get things rolling in the right mode. He did it the year. Yep. We did it and had everything situated, and like I said, it was a fun experience. So I feel like if we can get, especially most of those guys back, those on that 2016 team, got a good chance of winning.
Is there a specific guy that you'd be like former teammate of yours that you'd be most excited to play with again, or like, hey, I just had good chemistry with this guy, I'd love to run it back?
Oh, for sure, Melo.
Yeah, I would figure that's going to be a lot of guys' answers too. I would think
just to get that connection back. Because I, since I've played professionally, I played with Jabari Hines, I played with Miles Mack, and they're really good point guards. So I'm not taking anything away from them, but I don't think I played with like someone that can just score at will like Melo. And so I would like to get that connection back with him. It would be fun. And I think Terps fan would like to see it too.
Yeah, you got one Terp fan right here that absolutely would be all about that. Is there a former Terp that you didn't play with or didn't overlap with that you always thought like, hey, I think we would have like paired pretty well together and would like to get a chance to do that?
I can't really. I do think, and not just I think just holding it down defensively, but we didn't get to play together because he left when I came in as a freshman. But I think Alex Lynn, of course, he wouldn't. He's not playing.
Sure, we got a couple years maybe, before he's considering that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but him for sure. I just think me and him defensively he was really good defensively at Maryland and was big. I think playing with him, I think we would have held the paint down a lot.
Oh yeah, good luck scoring anywhere within 10 feet of the rim against that duo.
I think that would have been fun for sure.
I guess, is that an appeal at all though, of just, hey, getting to play with other guys and is it more of a draw to play with former teammates and get the band back together, or is it more of a draw to play with other names that you didn't get a chance to play with in the past?
I mean, for me, I think it would be former teammates. Yeah, especially like when I go online and I see like on Twitter and people when they started originally talking about the shell shock, I started seeing all the names that was thrown out was like me, Rob, Jake, Mello. I saw Jared a couple times. So the majority of the people want to see those guys. And saw Cowan. Mm-hmm. So it was majority of the guys that was there from like 2013 to like 2016. I even saw some older guys. I saw a couple Nick Faust.
There you go. Love that.
I saw one guy say Seth Allen. And I think it's funny. I think Nick would actually play with us.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I think Nick would run. I know Nick has been on a couple teams in the TBT, but I'm sure he would love to come home and play. Because I think Neiman, what he wants to do, I think he wants to get it either at where the guys play now, or I think maybe at where the Wizards play.
Anywhere kind of local would be huge. Yeah. There's so many like good DMV area teams here that I think you could definitely make like a case for having a regional, in this area.
And the thing is, like, Maryland has so many fans. I can see it being just like the Wichita region of like they're coming out and packing it out. I can definitely see that. So.
Yeah, even the non-Maryland, D.C. area fans, I think, would come out for something like that. Maybe you could get a Georgetown team in the same, venue or something like that. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that 2016 team just resonated with this fan base to a level more than certain other teams do too. So I'm not shocked to hear that a lot of those names are getting brought back up.
Right.
Who's the next Terp that you think we should talk to here on the podcast?
The next Terp? I don't know.
Putting you on the spot.
Yeah. Next Terp. I mean, there's a lot of guys that you could talk to. I think people that would be interesting to talk to, that would give you, good. I mean, you could definitely reach out to Jared. I think Jared's it's a good one. He has a lot of stories. He's really a funny guy on the team. Okay. Of course, you have Jalen Brantley, another funny guy.
Put them on there together. That'd be a good duo.
To get another perspective from a guy that didn't play much, but from the outside that was there and seen everything. You got Maroon Ram. I'm sure he would definitely come on.
I can make that happen, I think.
Yeah. So there's those guys for sure.
Those are great answers. I love that. They're definitely going on the list here too. Damonte, anything you got going on outside of the court or anything that you want to tell fans and Terp fans about?
No. Only thing I got going on outside of basketball is sleep and Fortnite.
Hey, there you go. What's the Fortnite gamer tag here if people listening want to hit you up?
It's Tay D35.
There you go. All right. If any Fortnite players here checking this out want to hit up our guy, you know what to find. I know where to find him.
Only run with me if you're good. If you're not good, I'm gonna
take a pass. There you go. Thank you for doing this again, man. This was awesome. I appreciate it. I would just love to just kind of keep checking in and touching base throughout the season here. Like you said, you got a long one ahead of you here, but hopefully Japan is fun, and I'm glad you're back with a team you're comfortable with, and I think you guys will get it turned around, I'm sure.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me on, as always.
All right, everybody. You know the drill. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that like button for us. Hit subscribe. Tell a friend. Tell other Terps fans. The more of you that listen to this, the easier it is for us to to keep this thing going and get people involved. And we're brought to you by Vision Media Solutions again. And yeah, fear the turtle, and we'll catch you all next time.
Yes.